This is the thing. Who you choose to hang around with, who you choose to have in your posse is exactly who you become. Choose your posse wisely. I'm here to tell you that putting yourself first is not selfish, it's revolutionary. Welcome to the Ayurvedic Woman Podcast, empowering women to light their lives on fire through Ayurveda, yoga, spirituality, and fitness. I'm going to say this one last time. Stop apologizing. Women do this all the time. They apologize for everything. What are you feeling sorry about? Stop. If you do not put yourself first, nothing else happens. Stop putting everybody in front of you and put yourself first so that those people that you need to care for and take care of can be cared for because you have put yourself as the priority.
Jai Bhagwan, Woman Warriors, and welcome to the Ayurvedic Woman Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Satyavani, and my fabulous co-host,
Prajna Madhavi.
And we are here today with an incredibly special guest, Tanner Shuck, he's going to talk all about himself, but is really a sensation on Instagram. And we are so honored to have you with us today, Tanner. Thank you for tuning in all the way from Dubai. So we appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, ladies, and happy and honored you would consider me and want me to be on your podcast. I know I don't have a lot of lady followers, so this is a first for me.
I love it.
Love it.
Good. Hey, I'm glad we're the first, so that makes us feel pretty special. So Tanner is an incredible athlete, and is it fair for me to say, Tanner, a bodybuilder, and also a
I would say I would never refer to myself as a bodybuilder. Okay. I would just refer to myself as I really enjoy working out. Like I love working out vigorously, and I do all kinds of training, not just bodybuilding. CrossFit, some bodybuilding, strongman, powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, gymnastics, calisthenics. So I take a little bit of everything, every discipline that I like, and I've just kind of made it into my own style of training. Not really my own style, but basically it's just strength and conditioning. I believe in being strong, and most importantly, I believe in being healthy.
You are right in the same space as we are.
Yeah.
But before we dive into these questions with you, Tanner, because you have a very extensive background and we're super excited to hear all about you, as well as your message, because you have a very direct, a very powerful message with strong opinions, which we absolutely love and are excited to do that. But what we always do on our podcast, as I mentioned before we started recording today, was we do a wellness check-in. And so just wanted to check in with you. Like, how was your week? How are you feeling physically, energetically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, consciousness? Like, where is all of that for you this week?
Feel great. I'm very thankful to be alive.
I love that.
And very, very lucky to be able to do what I love every day. And practicing gratitude and having gratitude is extremely important to me. I'm a huge optimist, and like I said, I'm very thankful and I'm healthy, and I just want to, I'm doing really good. That's awesome. I can be honest, like anytime someone asks me how I'm doing, and I honestly answer them, I'm just happy to be alive, because that's the truth.
I love that.
Awesome.
So, Praj, what about you? How was your week this week?
My week was really good. I love the Ayurvedic Woman graduation yesterday. That was very spiritually uplifting. I was actually thinking that I was feeling very overwhelmed about my week until we did that yesterday. And I knew, like, as I'm learning from you and from the other AWP ladies, just in general, and my own practice, that, you know, your initial reaction as to how you feel is not really always how you feel. You can always think a different path, and you can find a different path. And so yesterday I was like, just go, just show up, and you're going to be fine, and it's going to be great. And it was. And so it was awesome. I'm a little sore with the doing the fit body workouts and the lifting and the yoga, a little bit more on when I have a little more time off. Definitely my body feels a little bit more, but yeah, I would say I love Tanner's message that I'm very happy to be alive and very grateful. So yeah. How about you?
Where are you ladies based? Remind me again, please.
We're out of Boise, Idaho.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Like that's pretty random, probably.
That's actually a Boise. I've never been to Idaho, but I know that's a beautiful state.
It is. Yeah. Geographically, it's absolutely gorgeous. So
yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm doing great. We just to give Tanner some context, we run a year-long program of women in this whole genre of physical, energetic, mental, emotional, spiritual development, and through both yoga and Ayurveda and fitness. And we graduated the 2023 class yesterday, so it was exciting. Yeah, thank you. It was exciting to see all of them finish, and they shared what their experience was over the past year. So that was just energetically and spiritually just amazing. Physically, I feel great. Last month, I had just sort of this energetic immunity kind of slump, but I really feel like I'm getting my mojo back. My deadlifts got stronger this week. You know, you and I, we were in the gym together, and that felt good because I hadn't felt that strong doing that in a while. So things are good. Things are good. I'm getting more sleep, and I'm realizing how important. Oh my God, it's huge. It literally is the best medicine. I was having a lot of disrupted sleep for several months in a row, and then I was like, I think I need a little assistance. So I started taking a little bit of melatonin, a time release melatonin, which was really, really helpful. And now, this past week, I needed to use it.
I can tell you some stuff at the end of this podcast to help your sleep.
Okay. I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm excited to hear about it. Yes, absolutely. I'll take all the tips I can get for sure. So, but, good week. But let's highlight the man of the hour today. Tanner, thank you so much again for coming here. And I'm going to start off with the first question. When and how did your journey towards living a healthy lifestyle begin? And my question is, can you just give us some background about, how you got into this? Was there a moment in your life where you're like, I've got to do this, or was it always part of you? And all the good stuff. So where did this start?
I'll try to keep it concise. I started exercising and working out when I was like 8 years old because I wanted to play football, and my dad wouldn't let me play football unless I got in shape. And so my dad introduced exercise to me at a very young age, and it shaped my life. It was very, very formative for me. I've been an athlete my entire life. High school, I played college football. And
where did you play?
Coaches. I'm sorry?
Where did you play in college?
I played at Rice University down in Houston, Texas.
Yep.
So, played college football. And I've just been working out and lifting weights my entire life. And then once I finished up playing college football and I wasn't really able to pursue that professionally, I immediately transitioned into competitive CrossFit because I knew when I graduated college, I really wasn't cut out for like a real job or like a 9-to-5 job or anything like that.
Yeah.
I knew myself well enough at that point, and thankfully I listened to my heart, and I transitioned into competitive CrossFit, and my sole focus at that point in time was being the fittest man in the world, or trying to be the fittest man in the world. And so then I did competitive CrossFit for about 8 or 9 years. I had quite a bit of success competing at CrossFit, not necessarily at the CrossFit Games, but at the other second largest CrossFit competition in the world, which is based in Dubai, which is essentially how I came to live in Dubai. Mm-hmm. And still now I'm 36 years old. I haven't competed in CrossFit in a few years because I've had lots of injuries, but it's still extremely important to me to be as healthy and as fit as I possibly can. So I still train all the time. I'm very fit, very healthy, and it's really important to me. But that in a nutshell, I've been training my entire life, essentially.
Yeah. 8 years old is pretty young.
Yeah.
That's great. So did you grow up in Texas?
I grew up, actually, I was born in Oklahoma, grew up in Alaska, and then, I grew up in Alaska, and then I went back to Oklahoma for high school, and then I went to college. I lived in Houston, Texas for 5 years, when I was going to school.
Yep. Gotcha.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, I'm originally from New York. I'm not originally from
okay.
Idaho. Yeah, so it was like New York, California, back to New York, Oregon. I spent some time in China in between there, and then wound up in Idaho. And well, Prash, you can share.
How about you, Prajna?
I grew up in Iowa, and so I moved from Iowa to Idaho when I was 13. So grew up on a pig farm,
very nice.
Definitely learned some work ethic there, and then moved out to Idaho and been here ever since, pretty much.
Wonderful.
So. Yeah.
There's this joke in the States. I don't know if you know about it, Tanner, but like when people sort of go, where do you live? And you say Idaho, everybody goes, oh, you live in Iowa? Like for some reason, people think Idaho and Iowa.
They associate that. Yeah. So this is stereotyping, but when I think of Iowa, I immediately think of cornfields. And then when I hear Idaho, I immediately think of potatoes.
Totally.
So but still, it's two parts of the United States that I'm sure are lovely. And I mean, I'm from Oklahoma.
That's
I feel
cool.
There's lots of, the United States is actually incredible. So many different places, and it really has everything to offer.
No.
So our second question was actually, which you've already kind of covered, but I actually have a separate question. Our question was, how did your journey lead you towards living in Dubai? But you already kind of mentioned that with the CrossFit. Yeah,
I'll kind of answer that.
Yeah.
And it all had to do with working out and being fit. Mm-hmm. So I'll be concise. When I finished up playing college football, I immediately, as I said, went into competitive CrossFit. And my dad, he is retired and he lives half the year in the Philippines. He spends time in Oklahoma and then in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. And I took a vacation out to the Philippines with my dad because he wanted me to. He wanted me to, travel a bit and see other parts of the world, just to have that worldly experience before I, got a job in the States and, started a career. So I ended up taking a trip out to the Philippines, and I really I needed to find a gym in the Philippines to work out in because that's that important to me. So my dad took me to this CrossFit gym in the Philippines, and CrossFit was just kind of getting started in that part of the world. This was back in 2013. And it was just right place, right time. I walked into the gym, then they offered me a job to coach CrossFit because they were looking for an experienced CrossFit coach, So I accepted that job because all I wanted to do is, as I said, I wanted to go to the CrossFit Games and I wanted to try to be the fittest man in the world. And competing in Asia, in the Asia region, was much less competitive and easier to qualify into the games versus trying to qualify from in the United States, where CrossFit was more saturated and, the men were more fit. So I took the job just so I could go to that competition and try to compete to the CrossFit Games. And then one thing led to another. I found out about this big time fitness competition in Dubai when I was living in the Philippines, called the Dubai Fitness Championship. So then I flew from the Philippines to Dubai specifically to do that competition because they were giving away a lot of money, like a really good, like $50,000 for like working out. Yeah, that's like pretty good money, especially for CrossFit. So I went to that and I ended up getting third in that competition. I made some money. It was great. And then I got offered a job coaching CrossFit in Dubai based on my performance in that competition. So that's what got my foot in the door in Dubai. And I was back in late 2013, early 2014. And then I just have been here since. So that's how I came to be in Dubai, just in essence through working out, through fitness.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you like it? I've been to Dubai and it's beautiful. If you were to pick, did you like, because I've been to Philippines too. Do you like the Philippines or do you like
I would.
UAE.
They're really different.
Yeah.
I prefer Dubai personally if I had to choose the two, simply because I feel like it's very safe here, extremely safe, and I'm in the fitness industry, and there's a lot more people here with disposable income that can, invest in their health and in fitness. Whereas in the Philippines, there's really no middle class. You're either rich or you're poor.
Yep.
And so the Philippines, I've seen some of the most incredible things in my life in the Philippines, and I've seen some of the most terrible things, also just extreme poverty. If I had to choose, I think Dubai is great. You just have to keep in mind it's a desert here. Yeah, it is a beautiful place, but it's man-made beauty. It's kind of synthetic or artificial. Yeah. It's fine. It is what it is. There's no other place like it in the world, I would say. Mm-mm. But it's a man-made metropolis in a desert.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah. Praj, you had a follow-up question that you wanted to ask instead
of.
Well,
and I think, and you kind of already answered it, but I was kind of wondering the comparison of the fitness in a place like Dubai to a place like in the States. But from what it sounds like, it's fairly similar. But can you speak to that just a little bit?
I would say it's fairly similar. In my opinion, I feel like Dubai, specifically the Emirate of Dubai, it has a really strong fitness scene. There's quite a few fitness influencers, in Dubai. And people are pretty health oriented, or at least in my opinion. Again, there's people from all walks of life here. So there's obviously people, that are unhealthy and obese and don't exercise, but there's also quite a bit of, fit and healthy people here. And it was a good place for me to start my fitness career. Mm-hmm. And that's why I ended up out here. Like, I like to compare it to, as a trainer, which I was a personal trainer for many years. Being in Dubai, I was like a big fish, in a small pond. Whereas if I would have been a personal trainer in the United States, I would have been kind of like a minnow in an ocean. So it just afforded me opportunities to, pursue and have a better fitness career. Like, as a personal trainer, you're able to probably earn more money here in Dubai versus the United States, especially when I was just getting started out, like 10 years when I was like 25, 26. Mm-hmm. Dubai was, a really good place to start my fitness career.
That's nice. Amazing. You touch upon how like there's a range of people in Dubai, and I'm sure you are not ignorant to the fact that we have a major obesity epidemic in the United States. What would you say is the comparison between folks that are international versus here in the States? Do you think that there's it's comparative, or that like the United States it's a shit pit and it's got a lot of problems?
I think there is some comparison. Again, there's really unhealthy people, I think, all over the world. Mm-hmm. I think it might be worse in the United States simply because there's more people, and I immediately know every time I'm in the United States, I immediately know it because anytime I look at a television screen, there's going to be commercials about prescription drugs. Yep. Anytime I'm outside anywhere, there's a fast food restaurant on every corner, or there's some kind of, fast food advertising wherever you look. It's literally ingrained into people's subconscious minds in the United States to eat low quality junk food and then just, take drugs. Yep. So I think that's why it's worse in the United States, and that is here in Dubai to an extent too. People are really unhealthy, and like that. But I would say it's kind of the food industry and the government makes it a bit worse in the United States than I'd say here in the UAE. So if I had to compare the two.
Yeah.
And I keep in mind, I haven't lived in the United States in almost 11 years. So, 12 years, going on 12 years. So it's, it's kind of a little bit hard to compare because I don't spend much time in the U.S.
Right. And you also missed the whole COVID wave effect in the U.S. versus Dubai, which I'm curious what it was like there.
Luckily, Dubai or the United Arab Emirates, they handled COVID, I think, really well. like we weren't really on lockdown. We were on lockdown for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then by like June or midway through June of 2020, they took the lockdowns were, taken away. And then essentially we kind of just went on as normal, living our everyday lives.
Nice.
Whereas I know in a lot of other parts of the world, the lockdowns were much longer, much more strict. There was a lot more issues. And you have to keep in mind, like here in the UAE, it's almost like, and I mean this in a positive way, but it's kind of like a dictatorship, because this country is ruled by royal families, and they actually do an amazing job taking care of the country, and its citizens and residents. Whereas in the United States, there's people from all different walks of life, and everyone is so gung-ho, or they feel so strongly about their rights, and they shouldn't be locked down or confined, and all this COVID stuff is a huge conspiracy, and I'm not going to take a vaccine because it's against my rights. Like, I feel like in the United States, it's almost, it gets out of hand. Of course, there's way more people in the U.S., and because of the way the Constitution is written and government and all that kind of stuff, you're going to have way, way more pushback. Whereas here in the UAE, you have your local citizens, the Emiratis, and then everyone else that lives in this country, we're essentially guests that are able to live and work in their country. And so there's a lot more, I think, respect and obedience, and I think that's a good thing. So they were able to enforce, COVID, the restrictions and things like that very, very easily with much less pushback. So and that allowed Dubai and UAE to get out of lockdown much faster.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. And I just look at it as like, I live in this amazing country. I'm a guest. I'm not political or anything like that. So it's,
I'm just here to work out.
I'm just here to train.
I'm more worried about, getting healthy and taking care of myself and helping people rather than I am about, protesting fucking stupid bullshit. So, yeah.
Absolutely. We got to get past that shit. That shit. Yeah. So I'm with you on that. So Praj, did you want to shoot? Go ahead.
Yeah. So third question, what are the major hurdles you see with people not hitting their fitness goals today? You work with a lot of individuals. What are those hurdles that people keep really struggling with?
I'd probably say the biggest one is lack of education, and then they just don't care and don't they don't care about being healthy, because they don't really know any better. And I think if someone is trying to be healthy and be fit, that's one thing, but I feel like a lot of people are just completely ignorant to it. And that's most people, like they're just not brought up that way, and living a healthy lifestyle or eating well, they may not have been raised that way. Their parents probably didn't educate them, and you're not educated in school to eat healthy or to exercise. So I think probably the biggest hurdle is probably maybe awareness.
Okay.
And then again, my message is really, health is a personal responsibility, and then health is a choice.
Yes, it is.
And I feel like a lot of people, even they say they want to get healthy, maybe they don't get results because they never take responsibility for their life. And they never take responsibility for their health. And they would rather maybe make excuses or shift blame, and blame any kind of external circumstances they have. And again, I think really the biggest thing is never taking responsibility for their health.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly, if you go really deep and you figure out what it truly is, people never choose to be healthy. They would rather make excuses and blame shift rather than just doing the work and choosing to be healthy.
And do you think, Tanner, as a kind of a follow-up sub to that, is do you feel like, because like Prajna and I, we agree with that. We're very much about you've got to take self-responsibility. And do you think that comes from, I mean, you mentioned you think it's lack of education, and I would agree with that 100%. People don't know what they don't know. But do you also think that there is a laziness factor?
To a point, and I think, yeah, you have to care, but I mean, I think there is a laziness factor, but again, how can I say this any better? Something I feel really strongly about, and I believe it's true. Every single person is where they are in their life because of every single choice they've made in their life up to that point. So I don't, yeah. In essence, you could say it's just people being fucking lazy because, dude, it's a choice. Like it's a choice to be healthy. It's a choice to be fit. And people that don't get results, like I said, it's because they make excuses or they blame shift and they're too lazy. Or you could actually say they choose to remain lazy and not do anything to help themselves. You know, they choose to eat low quality shit food. They choose to sit on their ass. So I look at it, honestly, like that. And when you frame it like that, it actually, it makes people realize, wow, I can get results. I've just been kind of a lazy piece of shit and I've been making the wrong choices, you know, and that's why I'm not healthy and that's why I'm not getting the results. So it really comes down to personal responsibility.
Right. And actually, if I become aware, I can make better choices and I can make, big changes in my life. Absolutely.
So awareness is a big part of it. And then again, and this isn't even health, but it's actually just taking responsibility for your life. And you have to have the mindset, all right, I'm going to make life happen for me instead of letting life happen to me.
Absolutely.
So like that's when I had that mindset shift when I was probably 22 or 23 years old, my whole life, my whole trajectory in life changed. You know, I realized everything that I do and every choice I make, you know, in my life is up to me. And I need to take 100% responsibility, you know, for where I am in my life and where I want to be. So that's why my biggest message to people is personal responsibility and realizing that health is a choice. Everything you do in your life is a choice.
Yep. And do you think that there are people who are, distracted? Like they make poor choices because they are distracted or allow themselves to be distracted by shit that doesn't matter? I mean, like there's so much shit out there. There's just so much shit out there.
Absolutely. And people are inundated, you know, with media, social media, their friends, what they read, what they hear. There is a lot, there's an information overload, you know, out there. And again, dude, media and propaganda, I feel like only exacerbates that. And it's terrible in the United States. And that's why I tell people, or I never watch the news personally. I don't really keep up with what's going on in the United States. Because I feel like it's all agenda based and they're trying to influence the masses by what they put out on the media. And so that's why I'm very selective with the media that I consume. I'm very selective with the people that I spend time around. And you hear so much conflicting information. Really, a lot of people, they don't even know what to believe. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And that's why I'm very active on social media, because you can use social media very intentionally. And a lot of people use social media for fucking bullshit, you know, whether it's entertainment, you know, making memes, making videos with cats. It doesn't really matter. Like I try to use social media very intentionally to deliver a positive and truthful message. And so I feel like and I feel like people recognize that. I feel like that's the only way I've been able to kind of garner, you know, a modest following.
That's how we recognize you. So, and that's
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I really do.
And it really does go back even to your choice. Like when you're on social media, you can choose to watch someone like yourself who is giving these inspiring messages, or you can choose to look at.
You can choose to, scroll through just nonsense, and it's everywhere. It has everything. That's why I say, like, social media can be, very positive, but can also be a negative. And that's why you need to consume social media intentionally. And I think a lot of people, I tell people that all the time, like, and the way I use social media, it's very intentional.
Yeah.
I try to use it to positively impact others and to get people to think about what they're doing and how and their behavior, and to get them to realize that health's a choice, health's a personal responsibility, and you're in control.
Yep.
Because that's the truth.
Yep. We do the same exact thing. So completely appreciate that. Praj, this is your big question here. So
oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
So actually, from a little bit of my own background, I was also trying to deal with my health issues and digestion. I went vegan for about 5 years, and I'm starting to find that I need to add some animal protein back in to my diet. And I know that you're a huge advocate of animal protein. If a client comes to you and are mainly eating plant protein, how do you work to maximize their fitness goals? And then I have a separate question to that as well.
Okay, so I've worked with numerous vegan clients. Okay, and for the record, I have absolutely no issues with vegans. I love vegans, and vegans are actually generally way healthier than most people, because at least they're paying attention to what they eat, right? And so it's totally fine. And if I'm dealing with a vegan client, or really any client, I'm going to tell them to try their best to get the highest quality protein they can, and the most protein they can. And with a vegan diet, most likely you're going to be better off supplementing. So you can get a good plant-based protein, whether it's, rice or pea protein, just to make sure that it has the full spectrum of amino acids. And then I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's called Sati. You probably want it.
Satan.
Yeah. Okay, Satan.
Yeah, it's actually pronounced Satan. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think tofu is another high protein vegan food. You just need to be aware, if you're going to follow a vegan diet for whatever reason, and that's a personal choice. You're going to have to work harder to get in more high quality protein, and you're most likely going to want to supplement. So I tell vegans,
it's hard.
Be mindful about getting in as much high quality protein as you can. You're probably going to have to supplement, and then you also want to supplement with probably branched chain amino acids and some creatine monohydrate, because those, specifically leucine, because those are really important amino acids, especially for muscle protein synthesis, that are not really found in many plant foods. And so if you can supplement with that, you're going to feel better, perform better, on a vegan diet.
Yeah. And you're 100% right, Tanner. I mean, I will say it, and I say this publicly to everybody. My background with veganism was, and I mentioned this before we got on the call, I was I come from a meat and potatoes family, etc. But as a child, I just didn't like the texture, the smell, or the look of meat. So there was just something there. And then as I started my yoga journey, it became very much a spiritual thing, especially, and this is going to lead into Prajna's next question, especially because of how livestock is treated in the United States. It's a very different experience here than it is in a place like India or the Middle East or something along those lines. And so, that's kind of, but you are 100% right. Like when my trainer is like, okay, you got to get 100 grams of protein a day. Like it's a lot. It's hard work. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah,
so
I'm with you. You have to work at it and be intentional. And again, it's a personal choice. And if that's your, personal beliefs, that's great. More power to you. I know a lot of people, they can also be vegetarian. And so if again, it's all a personal choice. You can kind of find like a happy medium between, not having any meat or chicken, but maybe you could have a bit of fish. Maybe you could have a bit, whole eggs. Maybe you could get your eggs from, a local farmer that the chickens are treated humanely.
Totally.
Maybe you could find, high quality fish or maybe high quality chicken from hens that, are raised, properly. So there's ways around that to do that. And I'm only saying that specifically because you're going to get those higher quality proteins, specifically those amino acids, in the most bioavailable forms.
Totally.
That will, in that sense, it just makes it easier to get higher quality protein and probably potentially, feel better, be healthier, whatever. Again, if you feel fine on supplements and doing all that, great. Do what works for you.
Totally.
So it really all just comes down to choice, like really anything else in life.
Absolutely, and intentionality. My husband's on that spectrum. Like my husband's a vegetarian, but he'll have fish every once in a while because he feels like he needs it. So I totally get it. But go ahead, Praj.
So I listen to a lot of other podcasts, and what I love is, especially about your message as well, is the word is getting out about protein, and absolutely way more high quality protein. And one podcast I was listening to was Wise Traditions, and they were talking to a rancher who was talking about how corn and grain prices have been so high in the latest years that what some of the major, and again, this is kind of plays into where you're living and where we are in the United States, because the United States is a shit show for food because we are so commercialized. We have like 4 or 5 companies controlling all of the meat sources. And he was mentioning that these major meat sources are now feeding the beef and the cows candy bars, and they're not even unwrapping the candy bars so that that meat, those cows can now get enough food to sustain them until they get slaughtered. So my question was, in the Middle East, do you feel like there are those similar problems? Because when you're talking about high quality meat, I feel like in the United States, people have to be extremely aware and extremely concerned of where they're getting their meat from. And I'm intrigued to see, do you feel that in the Middle East as well, specifically Dubai versus the US?
I don't know how I feel about all of that. I feel like some of these things, possibly, how much can you really believe of everything? I feel like a lot of things, there's a lot of sensationalism, especially in the United States.
Oh yeah.
I would be a little bit skeptical to believe that regardless of the company or the farmer, that they're feeding cows candy bars without taking the wrappers off. I don't know how well a cow could actually function, eating just candy bars. Usually they're fed some kind of mixture of grain, corn, some soy, grass. I don't really exactly know 100% what cows eat. I think a lot of things are taken way out of proportion. There's a lot of sensationalism. Here, to answer your question, here in Dubai, I spend a lot of money on food. Quality of food is extremely important to me. I spend probably so much money on food because I eat a lot of food and I always eat the highest quality food, always. I get all my meat and steak usually comes from New Zealand or Australia, and there's also some South African beef. You can get American beef here, but you'll notice it's fattier. Usually it's grain fed. All right. But I feel like the quality of food here in Dubai, it's all imported. I've never had any issues getting a high quality food here. Even when I go back to the States, I think the States, it might have some really low quality shit foods, but it also has extremely high quality food, and you can get it. It's accessible. And again, it all just comes down to, being educated and being aware. So again, and that's why I'm careful, and I'm not no means lecturing or thing like that, but just be selective and be intentional of the media that you do consume. You know, I think podcasts are great. I personally don't listen to a lot of podcasts because I just don't have the time. Mm-hmm. However, be selective of the podcast and any media that you consume, and really, you know, don't be afraid to question things or ask questions, or to be skeptical is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, totally. A true statement. So before we ask you our final question, I wanted to ask an intermediate question.
Sure.
If you were to sum up your message for our listeners, what would it be?
Health is a choice. Health is a personal responsibility, and eliminate all excuses. If you want something, you'll do it. If you want, you will.
Love it.
That's it.
Love it. That's it. It's perfect.
It's a choice. Everything in your life is a choice. You are where you are because of every single choice you've made in your life, you know, up to this point. And if you want to take control of your life, you can do it any second. It's just, it's a mindset.
Yep.
That's it. Yep. And that carries over to any aspect of life, whether you want to be successful in a career, whether you want to be healthy, any endeavor in your life, you just need to take 100% responsibility and realize that you're in control and take autonomy over your life. Don't let life happen to you. Make life happen for you.
I love that. Ah, so good.
Very good.
So our final question, Praj, you want to ask or?
Yeah. So
okay.
Our main goal is to support females being empowered and being the best versions of themselves that they can be.
Good.
But with the idea that it takes a lot of hard work, which I think is definitely your message as well. Once a woman understands that it takes a lot of hard work, what recommendations do you have for females getting started in weightlifting, health and fitness? I mean, there's also a lot of stuff out there about, I'm going to get too bulky or any of that's going to happen. So what are your recommendations?
First off,
or cardio, I got to do more cardio.
Got to do more cardio. My cardio. Yeah.
I can delve into all those specifics, but I kind of want to go back to what you said, because you're about empowering women and females, and you'll hear that, you know, being healthy and being strong is a lot of hard work. Okay. Being strong and being healthy and being lean is easy. What is hard is being fat and unhealthy, being sick, dying way too young, you know, dying when you still have kids and not being able to take care of your family. What is hard is never taking control over your life. What is hard is playing the victim card. All right. In my opinion, being strong, lean, and healthy is fucking easy. Okay. Being average, being an unhealthy person. I usually say being an unhealthy piece of shit because it's the truth. All right. That is hard. Okay. Yeah. So reframe the way you look at things, reframe how you look at life. Now, to answer your question, if you really want to do the best things, and what not women, it's all humans, men and women, should do. In my opinion, and I'm biased, but it's actually facts. The number one determining factor for lifespan and health span is your VO2 max, and also how strong you are, how much muscle you can maintain as you go through the aging process. So it's extremely important to eat high protein, maintain a high protein diet, eat quality food, and to strength train. Okay. If you think about it like this, people die as they get older because they stop moving. All right. They become sedentary. All right. And then they literally just kind of decay and curl back up into that fetal position that you were born in.
Yep.
And people do that because of muscle atrophy. They lose muscle, and people lose muscle because they stop moving. And if you want to keep moving, the single greatest thing you can do is maintain your strength, specifically your leg strength. So if I had to give one single exercise to any person, any human, man or woman, it would be some kind of leg exercise, probably a squat.
I was going to say squats. Every day's leg day. That's what we always say.
Think about it like this. When people sit, that's when people get sick. Sitting is a disease. And so the single greatest thing you can do, all right, is to be able to stand up and literally stand up, like stand up from a chair. Does that make sense? You have to have the leg strength to be able to stand up and move. If you can stand up and move, you're going to live longer because you're going to remain active. And the way you want to stand up and move is to keep your legs as strong as possible for as long as possible. So all humans should lift weights. All humans should try to gain or maintain their strength for as long as possible as they age. Again, no one's going to live forever, but you will dramatically improve the quality of your life if you strength train specifically. So lifting weights is the closest thing we have to the fountain of youth. And that's why I would encourage every person to lift weights and strength train. It's the most value for time way to spend your time exercising.
Love that.
So that's what I would tell people. So I would tell women, do any form of exercise is better than no exercise, but I would highly and I would implore people to lift weights at least once or twice a week so they can maintain their lean body mass for as long as possible.
Love it.
Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Oh, yes, it did. It did. We're big advocates for strength.
Yeah, and women, they never need to worry about getting too bulky ever. All right?
Yeah, I know.
I've been trying to get too bulky for my whole life, for over 20 years, and I'm still trying. Women don't have enough testosterone in their bodies to ever do that. Ever.
Yeah, correct.
Okay?
Correct.
They need to lift weights. The only thing that's going to happen is they're going to feel better, look better, and they'll be able to, their quality of life will be better.
Could not agree more. It also, for a woman like myself, because I'm staring down 50 years old, it's also very helpful with hormonal balance, as the hormones shift, and we get closer to menopause and things like that.
Absolutely.
I love how you put it. Strength training is the fountain of youth, and I could not agree more.
It's the truth. Like skeletal muscle is the largest organ you have in your body, and it's also it's the most important. And you want to maintain skeletal muscle for as long as possible as you age, because your quality of life will be better and you'll live longer. Simply because the more muscle you have, the easier it is to keep moving. And the longer you keep moving, the longer you live. It's that simple.
It really is. It really is. Appreciate that, Tanner.
Of course.
So, Tanner, before we draw a card for you today, the question is, how is it best for people to stay in touch with you or to follow you? Is Instagram really your thing?
Honestly, I fucking hate Instagram. All right? Because it's a low quality, diluted platform.
Agreed.
I like it. However, it is useful, and a lot of people are on Instagram. They use it all the time. Yep. But if I was going to tell people, if they want to keep up with me or learn more about me, they can check out my website, truestrength.co. But I would really please ask them to subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Right? That is really where people will get the most value for free.
Awesome.
If they want to learn really about health and fitness and being healthy, and if they enjoy a no nonsense direct approach that's truthful.
Awesome.
And I've put out many YouTube videos. I'm trying to grow on YouTube as well. So I just feel it's honestly, it's the best platform to help and impact people. Instagram, it's an archive based platform.
Totally.
I use it and I try to use it positively, but if you go through it, Instagram is very diluted, and it's a kind of a spam platform. You get there's all kinds of nonsense going on. So you can follow me on Instagram for sure, and you'll definitely understand more about me and my message. But YouTube would probably be the best place.
Okay. And is your YouTube channel called True Strength, or is it under your name?
Thank you for asking. It's Tanner Shuck.
You got it.
Just
All right.
Tanner Shuck. TANNERSHUCK.
Perfect.
And I would also highly recommend, if anyone wants to meet with Tanner, like the information that you gave me just as an initial meet. You gave me a whole, pamphlet of stuff to look over. It was awesome. So if anybody wants to, set up a meeting with you, I would.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I appreciate you ladies considering me to have on your podcast. I hope your listeners get some kind of value out of this.
Oh, they absolutely will. And
yeah.
We will, in the comments because this will get posted on my YouTube channel, which I hope you will follow.
Awesome, I will. I'll subscribe to it for sure.
Absolutely. And
right now.
All right, cool. I will. I'll put it in the chat before we hang up today.
Okay.
But this video will get posted on there as well, and I'll put in the comments how people can get in touch with you. So.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
I appreciate that.
Okay. So
Satyavani.
Satyavani. Yes. That's what it is.
Prajna.
Yep. And my the YouTube channel is Satyavani Rising, like the rising sun. But I'll give you those details later. So we are at the oracle card pulling, and so Prajna, do you want to just ask Tanner for a number?
Yeah, just give me a number between 1 and 16.
7.
Okay. And we have card number 15, which is Mahavidya.
Mahavidya. Oh.
And I will just read the little start here.
Maha means the great, like Mahatma Gandhi. So Maha means the great, and Vidya is the truth. So there's the big truth. We'll see where it lands here, though.
She is unrestrained. And these come from, sorry to give you a little preview, these come from Elena Fairchild's Kali Oracle. Sat, you want to give a little background on Kali?
So Kali is the yogic goddess of transformation. And so she is the female version of Lord Shiva. So in the Hindu pantheon, there are various gods and goddesses that have different purpose. And so we really resonate with Kali because she's all about breaking down the old, often considered like a destructive goddess, but breaking down the old so that you can emerge with something new. So it's very much about transformation.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So 15, Mahavidya. It says she is unrestrained, unlimited, wild, and unconditional love. The heart knows how to attract grace and manifest creative resolution where the mind sees only difficulties. A spiritual awakening of tremendous value is opening for you. As your inner being reorients itself around the increasing inner light, established structures built upon lesser foundations will have to give way. She demands a courageous embrace of experience. She is your call to initiation and growth, your invitation to embrace your path. Rise and greet your destiny.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
Spot on. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Spot on for you.
All right.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
No
I hope that manifests.
It will. It absolutely will. Tanner, is there any final messages or notes that you would like for us to share with our listeners?
I feel like I've said everything that I really wanted to say, and I just hope I answered all your questions.
You did.
Thoroughly. And I appreciate you having me on your podcast. I appreciate, the consideration. And as I said, I hope you and your listeners get some value out of it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. And
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for listening today. Mr. Tanner Shuck, powerful message. We will put all of his details in the comment section of our YouTube channel, as well as tag him on Instagram. So thank you, everybody, for coming today and listening. And Jai Bhagwan, may your soul be victorious.
Is life hard? Yeah, it's really fucking hard. And you can also have the life it is that you want. You just got to work for it.